Federico.
Clock in. Clock in.
Episode 85. Ocho Cinco.
Federico.
We on our Grussle, us grinding our hustle.
This is part of the vibe, man. This is part of the vibe.
Yeah.
It's good, Neat. One more time.
We on our Grussle, us grinding our hustle.
Honestly, I don't even want to talk over this. Like, this is for y'all to do. You know what I'm
I love it when they count me out. I love it when they count me out.
We'll get into that.
9 o'clock in, baby. Yeah. You ready? Yeah.
There's more to come as far as football.
Yeah, we're coming back.
We're coming
You
back.
know Brady coming back.
About to lose his wife, though.
Yeah, but he coming back.
He gonna lose his wife, but he'll
He
be
coming back, man.
Clock in.
Hey,
Clock
part of
in.
being a nut.
Yeah, man. Welcome back, man. Welcome back. Well, if this is your first time, welcome to Clock It Experience, man. Cole's here, Marshall Hamilton.
Austin Hamilton here, other co-hosts, and like you said, man, welcome to Experience. It's always a good one.
We gonna have fun, man. We gonna have fun. Y'all gonna laugh. Y'all gonna learn, and we definitely gonna argue today.
Oh yeah,
We gonna argue today.
all right,
I'm just gonna start arguing.
we can argue.
Before we get into everything, shout out to Iko Underwood, who's our sponsor with Arista Real Estate. She's a realtor in Virginia. She practices what she preaches. She's not only a real estate agent, but she has 3 properties in Virginia. So if you're interested in figuring out and learning about the market, how to buy, sell, or just what the process of even buying a home looks like, having investment properties, things of that nature, hit up Iko. If you go to our website, clockinpod.com, again, clockinpod.com, go to the sponsor section. There's a link that directs that traffic from our website to her, letting her know that we sent you there. So shout out to Iko, and appreciate you.
Thanks for keeping the lights on, Iko.
Yeah, she pays the bills, man. We need some more. We need another sponsor though. We need to add like a food sponsor or something. I don't know.
Some like a soul food sponsor.
Yeah, that's racist.
How's that racist?
Why I gotta be soul food? Because we black.
I like soul food. Everybody likes soul food. Who doesn't like soul food? If you don't like soul food, then yeah, you're different.
Something wrong with you.
You're a different being.
Real quick, this was kind of unplanned, but it happened within the last couple of hours. Shout out to Aaron Judge, man, for hitting the 60-second homer.
Oh yeah, I saw that, man. That's big time.
Yeah, man. Made history. Made Yankees history.
He probably on the Warriors, but
Why you gotta be on the Warriors, man?
baseball.
I don't think he's on the Warriors. I don't think he's on the Warriors. I think he's legit, but yeah, I mean, Royals or not, that's impressive.
And I ain't got nothing against in that sport. They should encourage that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Homers they be smacking. They be smacking home runs left and right.
They should be encouraging cheating.
Shoot, I be watching baseball. Only time I watch baseball is in the playoffs.
Yeah, facts. So yeah, it is a good time of year for sports. You got everything going on right now. You got NFL, NBA preseason just started. College football, college basketball is about to start. Playoff baseball, NHL is about to start. So it's just a great time, man. But
Premier League soccer.
I don't know nothing about that, but yeah.
Shout out to Liverpool. We suck right now, but we still got Champions League, so we're definitely not winning the Premier League.
Speaking of sports, this isn't even I guess it's a sport, man, but pickleball. We got to talk about pickleball, man. Pickleball basically has gentrified gyms across the nation to the point where even the gym that we play our men's league at, where there's 2 basketball courts, they literally took the rims off of one of the courts and put a pickleball court down. I don't get it, man.
I don't either.
It's life-size ping pong, and I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it. But I joke about the gentrification, but I'm not joking about it.
No, I think there's a lot of truth to that. But preference, I'm not against pickleball. Like, it looks fun, and I actually want to play it. But when it comes to the expense of, like you said, literally taking down the rims in a facility where there's always traffic on those courts, like, I just don't see it. But look, man, clearly there's a business strategy to it, because as I'm sure you're about to mention, LeBron.
Yeah, I mean Draymond,
and a couple other people.
LeBron bought a pickleball team. He's ruining the game. LeBron ruining the game by
what? Basketball?
By investing in the pickleball. So for those who didn't see this, LeBron, Maverick Carter, and their LRMR Ventures company purchased a Major League Pickleball Club alongside Draymond Green, Kevin Love, SC Holdings, and Spring Hill CMO Paul Rivera. I didn't know that there was Major League Pickleball.
I didn't
know pickleball was a sport until 2021.
I had seen it at other facilities, and I kid you not, average age that play that sport, 65 and up.
Easy.
Maybe even older than that.
Easy.
And yeah, it looked fun. Like, you don't got to move that much. Like you said, it's life-size ping pong. But the fact that it's like just out of nowhere, this is the power of social media, dog. Like, out of nowhere, it's just taking over. Like, everybody's playing pickleball. It's taking over gyms. It's outdoors now. And I just don't understand where this even came from.
Well, here's why basketball is the best sport in the world to me. It's the only sport, think about this, it's the only sport where you can go to the field, court, whatever, and actually just play by yourself. You don't need anything else. You don't need anyone else. Like soccer, I guess you can practice a little bit, and you can work on stuff. But I mean, the goal's this big, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not the same.
Yeah. Basketball
is literally the only sport where I can go to anywhere where there's a hoop and just work on my game, shoot, and do whatever. You can't do it with football. You can't do it with lacrosse.
Swimming.
Swimming, I mean, team sport, I guess. I mean, swimming, I'll just say team sport. But even individual sports. Golf is one because it's an individual sport, but like tennis, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's the power of basketball. That's why it's to me, it's the best sport, because there's no economic barrier. I just posted a video of a guy that in Nigeria or Cameroon who literally made like a ramp under old basketball hoop and big ramp, look like of sheet metal, so that when he shoots it and he makes it, the ball rolls back down the ramp, and he's playing on like dirt.
I was gonna say,
so like you can't that's why you have such popularity right now across the world, because anyone can play. But pickleball, come on, man.
The MLP.
LeBron's ruining the game, man. You're not trying. You're not trying to advance.
You're trying to get that.
You're trying to get that money, man.
Trying to get that bread.
You're trying to get that money. So speaking of LeBron, this is kind of related because he doesn't have a great relationship with this dude, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
LeBron doesn't?
Nah, he's criticized LeBron before.
Yeah, I don't know about.
It's not like as highly publicized, but
who does he have a good relationship with? First of all,
I don't think he likes anybody.
Yeah, bitter old.
Think about it.
He a bitter old. Never mind.
So
respect to Kareem, but
yeah. I mean, he's one of those dudes, and you got to think, man. He came up in an era where he had to be heavily guarded. Playing in the era of racism, and at that point, black power and all that was going on. So, just enormous amount of pride about who he is, which should always stay that way. But a lot of people in that era became kind of cold, towards the things that they didn't necessarily agree with. So, I want to say it was a few days ago. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote an article, and he basically said that Kyrie Irving is a buffoon. First of all, calling someone a buffoon is top 3 most disrespectful words you could call somebody. A buffoon.
What is a buffoon?
Yeah, look up the definition. That's a baboon, man.
It sounds like an animal.
This guy went to Elon, man. He's supposed to. I went to Ferrum. I'm supposed to be saying that. But here's what happened. There's a guy named Alex something. Oh man, can't think of his last name. But he's like a well-known like alt-right, meaning like white supremacist, like conspiracy theory type dude, right? I think his name was Alex Jones or something like that. And he's pretty well known for saying some outlandish stuff about, government conspiracies, racial conspiracies, stuff like that. Kyrie retweeted one of his conspiracy theories. So anyone who's followed Kyrie knows he's one of those guys who's like anti anything mainstream, right? To the point where it's like I don't think that's really him. I feel like he's just reaching, right? So he retweets this dude, and Kareem sees that and says if he wasn't a basketball player, he would have no following because he's a buffoon, essentially. So what are your thoughts on, the whole situation? Kyrie retweeting that dude. I don't know what the conspiracy theory was. And then Kareem's response.
What is a buffoon first? Did you get that?
It just means like an idiot or person that lacks knowledge. But I don't know what his motive was for even like publicly saying that. But he's been public about kind of bashing people. I can't remember who exactly it was, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. Like, Kyrie has his own opinions on stuff. Clearly, Kareem does. If for me, it's like, I'm not about to just call somebody something like that, without at least like talking to the dude, because I'm sure they could get in contact with each other
easily, yeah.
And the NBA is supposed to be a brotherhood and all this stuff, but like it doesn't look right for him, most importantly, but for the brotherhood of the NBA. So I'm not rocking with it. Obviously, Kyrie is public about his opinions on certain things. I'm assuming a lot of it has to do with like COVID, because
the vaccine. He criticized him about the vaccine.
Yeah, he criticized him about the vaccine, and again, he had his own opinion on it, which is fine. And look, Kyrie's not out here promoting like violence or any. He's doing the quite opposite. He's uplifting people. He's trying to in his own right. So yeah, I think it's whack, dude. Like I'm not I'm not about to call nobody no buffoon off some, off an opinion on something.
I know part of it is Kareem's civil rights background and who Kyrie retweeted, and that guy being a big time, well known, I guess, white supremacist.
Do we know
is
who it was?
Yeah, I looked it up earlier today because I was like, what's the big deal? How did this even start? I think his name's Alex Jones. I'm almost positive. But here's my thing. The dude, Alex Jones, may have said something that Kyrie agrees with, right? I don't know what it was, but there's this notion that, like, all black people have to think the same. Or if you agree with this type of white person, then you're a bigot, you're a race hater of your own race. And again, I have to look into what this dude said, but I think that plays a part into this, right? If you're black, just going back the last couple of years, and you say anything that is in agreement with anything Trump said or did, doesn't matter how valid it is, then you're seen as an Uncle Tom, right? To a lot of black people. As a conservative white person, if you agree with some of the stuff that Biden says and Kamala Harris or Democrats about, valid racial issues, then you're seen as, a Negro lover, for lack of better terms, right? So my point is, like, I feel like Kareem has this old school, well, because you're black, you have to think this way. And if you agree with anything that's not in my, black hood views or whatever you want to call it, then you're wrong, right? And then I'll end with this. I was watching NBA TV. Charles Barkley had a show, and they were talking about Bill Russell, right, and how much of a just giant of a person he was in all facets. And on one particular interview, or it may have been on the TNT show that Charles Barkley was on, he talked about not wanting to pay taxes, right, and how you shouldn't have to pay. This? Charles Barkley talks about not wanting to pay taxes. Charles Barkley is not conservative, but he's controversial, is what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. And he's basically saying because he earned this money, like, you shouldn't have to pay these taxes. So he said Bill Russell gives him a call, and it's like, Charles, what school did you go to? Did you go to public school? Yep. Did you ride the bus? Yep. He starts listing things that, like, taxes, things that taxes pay for.
Right.
And then at the end of it, he was like, I don't ever want to hear your black ass talk about taxes. And then hung up the phone. And he was like, yes, sir. So my point is exactly what you said. He didn't publicly chastise Charles Barkley. You're an idiot. He called him and basically said, look, man, you have a platform. There's a lot of people who look to what you say and take it to heart. And as a black man, you need to be fully educated on some of the stuff you say. I'm calling you because I don't want you looking like whatever, this is tough love, essentially. And he respected it.
I mean, that's a problem in our community, man. People want to be quick to comment and, say spiteful things without doing, like, dog.
Get that person's perspective.
Yeah, like,
get their perspective. You may not agree. Just get their perspective.
You could easily, hey, what's Kyrie's number? I want to talk to this guy. Again, you're supposed to be, like, mega OG of the NBA, and people will respect, what you have to say, given what the stuff that you listed that he's gone through.
Right.
Right? And Kyrie will face, similar, and he already is facing similar backlash as far as, him being different and being boisterous about what he wants to say. So, yeah, I'm not, anything that has to do with, like you said, chastising, especially another black man. And then they're both Muslim, right?
I don't know what Kyrie is.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's. Yeah.
So like, yeah, dog, that crap is whack to me, man. Like, it's just you just sound like an old bitter hater. Like seriously, and yeah, it's just something I can't respect and rock with. Respect him as a player and all that stuff,
Right.
but like, I mean, a lot of these dudes are fraud, man. At the end of the day, that's why I don't. From a personal standpoint, I don't. None of this crap surprises me.
Yeah.
I like you as a player.
Right.
You know what you did for the game, but yeah, I don't rock.
You're
with
not
that.
being an ambassador, man, of the
Nah.
game, man.
Nah.
All right, so some stuff happened. I think this was Monday. No, Sunday. With this NBA preseason going on right now, and for those who aren't familiar, usually NBA teams will play like an well-known overseas team from China, Australia. You know,
Do they ever play?
Europe.
Do they ever play like teams from like Spain or
They have.
Turkey or anything?
Yeah, because the last team that lost, NBA team that lost an exhibition game was OKC to Real Madrid.
True.
And Luka Doncic was on that team, but he didn't. He didn't play that much. He was a youngin'.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he
because
was
they
a
were talking
youngin'.
about him.
Right. So on Sunday, the Suns played the 36ers, which is wild to say. Is that when they got their independence?
What is a 36er?
I don't know. I gotta look it up. We know 76ers is when we got our independence. Well, we wasn't independent, but the other people was independent. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, our Independence Day was. Never mind. We're not gonna go there. But yeah, 1776, right? I gotta figure out what 36ers mean. That makes this whole point even worse. Yeah, I'll let him do that. But
the nickname comes from the fact that the colony of South Australia was officially proclaimed on the 28th December, 1836. There you go.
All right, there you go.
That's a lot. Like what?
That's reach.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that's.
Even the 70s, like, I mean.
That's decent.
Well, but you think about it, they signed the Constitution in Philly. Like the Liberty Bell. Like that's not a reach at all.
I get it.
Why not when Philly was formed or something? You know. Like,
Do you think?
Pennsylvania.
Philly was the capital. Yeah, it was a capital.
Yeah, but I'm saying instead of the 36ers for.
No, it's just.
Australia.
I got you.
To me, that's
Philly
just the name
became a
flip.
city or
That's
whatever.
all it is.
It's what?
If the 76ers aren't a thing,
That's all.
is this even a name? Would they even come up with this name? I don't know.
These names are silly, bro. Like at the end of
What is
like,
a Laker?
That's why I like.
What is a Nick?
That's why I
what is a
like
Nick?
with the Commanders. With the
Knickerbocker.
Commanders name, it's like y'all are
It's,
tripping over a
Mark
name, but a lot of these, like the Wizards, is whack, dog. Like it's freaking Wizard.
The Wizards Knickerbockers are like suspenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jerseys
Yeah.
are cold, but like I'm just talking about the actual name.
Lakers is Minneapolis.
Yeah,
Right,
They started there, and Great Lakes.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, we be going on tangents, y'all.
We've been doing the knowledge.
Nah, facts. But to make a long story short, the Suns ended up losing by double figures to this Australian NBL team. Now, the NBL is a great league. It's actually been a kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a minor league. It's not the right word, but it's a lot of players who are from Australia have used that league to prepare for the NBA, and then there's a lot of NBA players who were kind of like on the cusp of making teams or played for a couple teams, but didn't really stick to rosters that go to the NBL, and do their thing. So these dudes can play, but this is in Phoenix, and I watched the game. Right, this wasn't one of those situations where Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, Ayton, their top guys were playing and they were up most of the game, and then they subbed out, and then this team just came back because the Suns bench players were playing. Nah, like they were losing the whole game. They're losing the whole game. So the clock in or clock out has the NBA and overseas basketball gap closed?
Clock out. I don't think that game means anything. Are the dirty Sixers, are they going to beat the Suns in a 7-game series? No, they're going to get swept. This was like, these guys are, first of all, a lot of these dudes are playing their way back into shape. And for the dirty Sixers, that's a freaking Super Bowl. Rightfully so, right? Like, you're on an NBA stage. You might have a chance to get a call up, right? And that's just good film. You know, you getting a bucket on DeAndre Ayton or, Bridges, that's great film. So they're going to play their freaking hearts out. So kudos to them. They won the game. But from a Suns standpoint, it doesn't really mean anything. But I will say, for them and what they have going on with their team, I'm not really a believer in them because I think they're starting to lose some morale, especially with the Ayton situation. But, it's a preseason game, man. It's not going to affect them in the playoffs. It's a preseason.
That wasn't the question, though. It wasn't about, should the Suns be worried? That game just prompted the question, right? I'm talking about holistically, not just that game. Has a talent, overseas talent, compared to NBA talent, is that gap closer than what it used to be?
No, it isn't.
I disagree.
It isn't.
I'm Are you done?
No, I mean they're getting better, but are you saying a team in Australia can beat an NBA team in a
I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the talent, the players. Overseas players today.
No.
So if you look at overseas players in the 90s,
we
80s,
talked about this on a previous
and early
episode.
No, we talked about is it tougher to play FIBA is FIBA better than is FIBA tougher than NBA?
But we also talked about the talent gap or talent pool. And our players more skilled.
That was based off of what Mario Hezonja from the Knicks said about the NBA being easier than overseas. That's a completely different argument. I'm not. It's not. Is the. That's what that argument was based off of, or that debate was based off of. It wasn't. Is this talent gap? Has it closed?
There's good players now, and there's always been good players overseas. They're just getting more exposure. Right? Given social media, all this stuff, the game's growing. But no, in totality, it's not, I don't know. You got a handful of players that can go. And, again, going back to this Phoenix Suns example, the dude that was cooking is from where? America. Right? So,
I didn't, I'm not talking about overseas, I'm not just talking about overseas teams. Yes, we know.
I'm not talking about.
We know there's two. We know there's going to be 2 to 4 Americans on each overseas team.
Yeah, and this question was prompted from that game, right? So I can say the people that were cooking on that team, especially that one dude, he's freaking American. So that has nothing to do with the gap, in my opinion. But yeah, these guys are getting better over there, but it's not close in the grand scheme.
I think what I'm clocking in on it, obviously, I'm going to take two things. One, the American overseas talent, or non-NBA talent, doesn't have to necessarily be overseas because, there's leagues in Canada or whatever. The non-NBA, and then the G League, right, I don't consider it NBA core roster players. The gap between them and the regular NBA players is not as big as it used to be because of the way the game is played.
You're saying you said non-NBA player, non-American NBA player?
No, just in general, okay. Non-NBA player, American. Let's just say American. Let's start with American. People from America who aren't playing in the NBA but play professionally. The gap between them and most of the NBA is not that big anymore, in my opinion.
I don't think it's ever been.
I think it has because Well, I mean, we can agree or disagree, but there are guys, there are more people today overseas who are clearly better than guys in the NBA, right? The NBA is way more political now. It's way more. It's not the way it used to be.
What did it used to be like? You're getting jobs off straight talent?
Say that again?
I said, what did it used to be like? It's always been that way. It's
I
always
said
been
overseas, like China. They talked about it on NBA TV. The NBL was not as good as it is now 5 to 10 years ago. The NBL is elevated. Leagues in China have elevated.
I mean, the game,
all these leagues are getting better because part of it is because basketball is more of a global game than it was before.
I agree.
And there's less. There's more talented players who don't make NBA rosters than there were before.
Yeah.
Like there are people who Scotty is an example, right? Like Scotty, he was good enough to be in the league, but there weren't that many jobs available. Now the way that the game is played in the NBA, way more positionless, way more free, but you also see they don't play defense in the NBA. Like that 36ers team, they play like I don't care what you say. There's definitely some type of gentleman's agreement in the NBA off pick and roll defense. I swear there has to be because dudes are wide open.
It's analytics.
No, bro, dudes are wide open and they're setting moving screens.
It's the analytics. And the moving screen part. I mean, that's just how the league is.
The NBA, the non-NBA basketball is way more realistic basketball. So when you play FIBA team, when you play against teams, it's not as again it's a different game. The 90s game versus the FIBA game was a lot more similar because you didn't have all these rules with hand checking and space and all that stuff that you have now. So again, non-American NBA player or American NBA non-NBA players are closer to talent-wise to the NBA players than they used to be. And then you look at overseas players who are not from America. Dog, look at the Olympics and look at the league now. Yes, there's more exposure, but all right, out of the top 10 players in the NBA, 5 or 6 of them aren't from America. Arguably. We talked about it last week. They're not American. And then look at, all right, France, Spain is still good, Australia, Canada.
Canada ain't doing it.
If they're
they ain't doing it. They should, and I thought they would be like 5 years ago, but
it's different now.
They ain't doing nothing, dog.
Canada,
they ain't making no noise.
I'm telling you, it's not going to be as easy for Americans to win the Olympics and win these international because there's no fear factor anymore. There's zero, like there's no that's completely gone, and we're softer than back in the day. We were more physical and more we can intimidate them like by the way we played. The NBA's gotten softer. FIBA basketball, like they're not calling ticky-tack fouls. You're not getting those BS James Harden, KD sweep through fouls. Like that stuff doesn't happen. So, the gap is closing, man. I'm telling you, the gap is closing. And then the last thing I'll say is AAU. These guys, these non-NBA American players, AAU in college, they play against these guys. So when they see them if they see them in a game like this, they're not starstruck. They're like, I played against you, and I probably gave you work, or we went at it.
We still the top dog out here in the U.S. of A.
Yeah,
stay like that.
100%.
Straight like that.
But the gap
stay like that.
But the gap is closed.
We the
man.
goods.
We the goods.
We the goods. Come on, man. Gap closing. We strapping Luka. We strapping Embeiid. We strapping all them dudes, man. You still got to come through the Warriors. You still got to come through LeBron. You still got to come through Kawhi.
You don't got to go to LeBron.
Come on, man.
You don't got to go to LeBron. I guarantee that.
Dirk got one. Yeah, he got one. That's actually good. Who's been the last like lead European guy to win a ship? Was it Dirk?
Giannis.
Okay, Giannis.
Come
Yeah,
on, man.
Yeah, Giannis got one.
Forgetting about Giannis.
Why did I forget about Giannis, dog? My bad, Giannis. Giannis a dog. Yeah, he African.
That's a good segue. All right, so last week we did our preseason top 5 NBA players, right? So the best 5 holistically. I don't have that list at the top of my head, but
check out the episode.
Yeah, episode 84, and we posted on social. Excuse me. So this week we have a different list. It's similar but different. It's the top 5 most talented players in the league. So talent and best are 2 different things. All right. Yeah. Some people may think, it's the same thing.
LeBron's the best, but I wouldn't put him in the most talented. But he's still the best.
Giannis is top 3. Is he the most talented? No. But what makes Jordan the GOAT is he was the best and the most talented. You hear me? What made Kobe the GOAT is he was the best and the most talented. You hear me?
I don't hear you, actually.
LeBron his father was I don't know who LeBron's father is, but he had a lot to do with this 20-year.
It's probably Wilt. I'm not gonna go ahead and. What were you saying?
All right, here's my top 5 list. All right, number 1, Kyrie Irving. There isn't a player on this earth who can score in the amount of ways and as efficiently as Kyrie. So let's just call it what it is. When you talk about talent, you're usually talking about offense. Kyrie can score at any spot on the floor with both hands, and as a guard, he can score without dribbling and triple threat. He can score in the post. He can obviously score off the dribble, catch and shoot. I mean, it's art watching him play, like literally art. KD is my number 2. The guy's 7 foot and can do everything a guard can do. My knock on KD is going to the rim. He can be soft a little bit. You can get under him and bother him. But there isn't anyone on this earth who's that tall who has ever been able to score as efficiently and effectively. Number 3 is my guy, dog. Paul George. PG-13 is different. PG-13 is different. PG is another guy. He can score everywhere, mid-range, handle smooth, jumper smooth. And out of everyone on this list, he's also the best defender, right? So he can lock down 1 through 5 pretty much. He needs to be better in bigger moments, but talent-wise, PG. 4, Steph. He's outside of Kyrie at the guard position. He's an underrated finisher, right? Like, he can finish in a variety of ways. It may not be as flashy as Kyrie, but underrated finisher. Floaters. He doesn't shoot as many mid-range as Kyrie. He doesn't have a post-up game. But, he can shoot from 3 from anywhere. Off the dribble, off the catch, triple threat. He's different. And then Luka's just... From a pace perspective, the reason why I have him at 5 is he's the slowest guy on this list and can score 40 without breaking a sweat. He can pull from deep. He can post you up. He can bully you to the rim, fade away, just super crafty. He's this generation's version of Larry Bird. I'm not gonna say he's better. Larry was different. You gotta watch some footage of Larry.
Larry was cool.
But
he's an underrated legend.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can be underrated as a legend.
Well, he's never in the GOAT conversation, and
he shouldn't.
He shouldn't be, no. But top 10 for sure. So yeah. Kyrie, KD, PG-13, Steph, Luka. That's my top 5.
Cool. I've got KD at number 1. I mean, you listed a lot of the attributes that I would say. 7 feet, he can shoot any shot, post up, from 3, mid-range. He's just impossible to guard. He's averaged, I don't even know, since he's been I can't remember the stat, but like 25 plus. I want to say since like 2012 or something was the stat. I don't know how many scoring champions or scoring titles he has, but I mean, he's the best scorer that we'll probably ever see. Number 2, KYRIE.
He's a better scorer than Kobe?
Yeah.
He's more efficient. But, I mean, when you're 7 foot, and you can...
He's a better scorer.
He's not a better scorer than Kobe.
Kobe took 1 million shots, but we're not talking about Kobe.
He said best ever, man. I can't. Go ahead.
He is the best ever. I mean, I could argue LeBron because he's about... But this isn't about LeBron. Because he's about to pass Kareem, who has the most points. So wouldn't that make you the best scorer, Nico?
So doesn't that make Kareem the best scorer ever, if that's the logic you're going off of?
I mean, he's got the most points.
But you just said KD's the best. He does this all the time, guys. He contradicts himself all the time. Go ahead.
How am I contradicting myself?
You just said LeBron's going to be because he has the most points.
I'm saying I said you could argue the case, but I'm not here to. Right. I'm not arguing the case. I'm going off of talent right now. Okay. KYRIE, I said number 2, and then number 3, Embeiid, which is crazy that you don't have that on your list. Embeiid literally can do everything as a big. He's like 7'2".
I'll never have a big.
He'll probably win the MVP. I mean, he's different. Like, he's literally Akeem Olajuwon in a bigger body and can shoot the 3. I mean, we've never seen a big like him. Like, imagine, and I'm not saying he's Shaq, but, like, imagine if Shaq could shoot 3s and could handle the ball, could do Euro step. Like, Embiid's different, man. Embeiid at 3.
I'll never have a big on my list, guys.
Well, he's different. Steph, I mean, not, obviously his shooting ability.
This is 3, you said?
Steph is 4.
4.
His shooting ability is the best ever. But then his handle, man, like, I would say next to KYRIE, he probably has the second best handle in the NBA. His off-the-ball movement, the ability to shoot from literally, like, anywhere. Like, when I say anywhere, I'm talking about as soon as you inbound the ball. He's the only player that I've seen, like, literally have to be guarded as soon as you inbound the ball. Like, if you look at teams when end of the first quarter, 5 seconds, he's getting, like, they're picking him up.
Yeah, they'll let the dude,
like, that's
dribble up the court and launch a half-court shot. But yeah,
it's nuts. Like, you literally have to worry
he'll
about
make a half-court
from
shot.
anywhere on the floor, anywhere in the freaking arena. Like, this dude could be in the concession stand. If he's about to shoot that joint, it'll probably go in. So Steph at 4, and then, yeah, PG at 5. I think, you know, he's got it all, man. Like, he's very smooth, mid-range. He can shoot the 3, his handle. He'll dunk on you. You know, he's one of my favorite players just to watch. His footwork. You know, to me, he's like that T-Mac of this era, right? Like, T-Mac, you could argue one of the greatest scorers ever.
That's a great comparison. I like that.
So PG at number 5, man. But yeah, I think my list is way better than yours per usual.
Yes,
and we can go to the polls on Instagram.
Joel
I typically
Embiid.
win.
He has Joel Embiid over Luka. Come on, man.
Luka.
I'll have Jokic over
Heck
Embiid.
no. From a talent perspective,
he averages a triple. He won the MVP. Does he have an MVP, Nick?
You're contradicting yourself.
He has an MVP.
What does the MVPs have to do with talent?
How is that contradicting myself? He has an MVP and he averaged a triple-double. Jokic.
What's it have to do with talent? We talked about offensive. You said offensive, correct?
Yeah. Is getting assists a part of offense?
Is rebounding? No. We're not we're talking about scoring, Marshall.
Let's look at
everybody on your list. Everybody on your list can score.
I didn't say he should be on the list, but I'd have. There's a lot of guys I've had before.
Okay, give me 3 guys you'd have over Embiid, talent wise.
3 guys talent wise. Hold on, give me a second.
Give me 3, because there's no way Embiid. Jokic is more talented than Embiid.
Let's see how many points Jokic averaged.
I don't care if he averaged 1 million. He's not more talented. Yo, go and look at Embiid's highlights. His bag is ridiculous. He's gonna win. He's probably gonna win the MVP this year. How many points did he average?
Jokic averaged 27 last year.
Let's look at Embiid.
See how many shots.
I'm gonna go. So now you get into the shots. Like, come on.
58% from the field.
Yeah, he's freaking shooting layups all day.
No, he shoots threes.
Putbacks.
Yeah. Getting layups all day.
He shoots a ton of threes.
So does Embiid. Which he probably shoots too much.
He shoots too many threes. He's
what's up with you and Embiid? You don't like Embiid?
Not really. Embiid averaged 30.
I love it when they count me out. I love it when they count me out.
49%.
Come on. What was you shooting from 3?
In the regular season, 37% in the postseason. And there's my problem with Embiid. He's not in good shape. He wears down at the end of the game.
Wait, hold on. Is Jokic in shape?
Conditioning wise, the way that he plays,
Jokic is in better shape than Embiid.
I don't know what their it looks or can be deceiving. First of all,
Jokic is not in better shape. I agree with you that he needs to be in better shape.
It doesn't affect Jokic because of the way he plays. Embiid thinks he's a freaking guard half the time.
The man averaged 30. What do you mean it doesn't affect him? What?
I said it doesn't affect Jokic as much as it does Embiid in late in games because Jokic can literally hold the ball like this.
Because he's tired.
Turn. No.
He hold it like
hold
this.
The ball like this.
He's tired and he's a great passer.
No. Jokic can hold the ball like this and just launch it from here, cash. He could turn around from the corner 3. He's done this plenty of times in the shot clock. Off the opposite shoulder, turn, 3, fade away, cash.
I don't need to talk about what Embiid can do.
Come on, man.
Just look at his highlights. You lucky we ain't got a screen right now, but
in the postseason,
to say Jokic is more talented than Embiid, in
the postseason he averaged 23.6 points a game.
Okay,
Embiid.
He's not more talented than.
You know what the difference is, Nico? They play defense in the playoffs.
Okay,
that's the difference. They actually play defense in the playoffs. Let's look at Jokic's playoff stats.
We don't need to get into all that. We don't need to get into that.
Jokic averaged 31 in the playoffs and 27 in the regular season. What's your point? What do you mean?
Hold on. Was Jamal Murray out? I think so. He's supposed to average freaking 30. If he's
supposed to?
Yes, if he wants his team to have a chance.
James Harden couldn't score 20 in the Lifetime League last year.
I'm pretty sure he would score 20.
James Harden could hit a basket
20
last
and
year.
some.
James Harden could hit a basket last year.
That guy's a professional scorer.
And they had Ben Simmons. Okay, well, he looked awful.
He did.
He looked awful. He wasn't scoring. Ben Simmons wasn't there.
Yeah, because he had
and
9 guys on him.
And Tobias, you know their second leading. You know their second
9 guys.
You know their second best player was Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, and he averaged what 23 points. He was 7 points less in the playoffs when they actually played defense.
So we're basing this off of 1 year, talent wise.
We're talking about now, right? You said going into this season.
Talking about you never said anything about going into this season. We're talking about talent.
Nico,
we're talking about overall talent.
Nico, in the beginning of the 7, I'm pretty sure he said this season.
Go to the receipts.
This season, these are the top 5 most talented players.
I never said this season. Okay. I said because if we're going by this season, Paul George wouldn't freaking be on the list because he didn't play. Right?
Going into this season, Austin. Going into this season.
Yeah, going into the season based off people that are just talented in general. No. Because if we were going into Paul, that's why Paul George isn't on. I don't even know if he's top 15, but no. Again, if you think Jokic is more talented than Embiid, like
Embiid doesn't.
I need to be checked.
It's because he takes a lot of threes and makes some here and there. He has a better.
No, he has a better overall arsenal of offensive skills. Watch him. Jokic is great because he plays with great pace. He's got great IQ, right? But we're talking about talent and skill. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have the bag that Embiid has. Because if you're going off, if Jokic is in that, then freaking LeBron is number one.
I just said he's better than Embiid.
He's not. Embiid
isn't in.
He's better or more talented?
He's more talented than Embiid.
Okay.
Neither of them are in my top 10.
Okay.
I'm not having I'm not.
Okay.
Embiid doesn't impress me, man.
That's why. I mean, I know you don't like him, but the dude is something we've never seen before. He's literally shooting fadeaways and dirt. Come on, man. He's different.
We haven't seen that before.
He's different.
We haven't seen. Look at Kevin Garnett highlights. Just because he's bigger, he's 7'3", yeah. Kevin Garnett did all of that.
And he's not even close talent-wise as Embiid.
He isn't?
No. Heck no. Heck no. Heck no. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's not even close talent-wise to Embiid.
No. KG is a freaking legend. But talent-wise,
here's the only thing Embiid does that looks better. He tries to cross people up, and he has a couple.
He tries to.
He has a couple. He doesn't yank anybody.
Oh, he does.
He doesn't yank anybody.
He does. I got some homework for you. Look at Embiid's highlights. Look at his highlights.
Shaq yanks people.
Shaq's talented. So, KG wasn't yanking people. Okay. Not at Embiid's rate. KG might have a couple highlights of yanking people, but
Embiid does fancier stuff. Tries to do fancier stuff, but regardless,
tries to and averages 30. all his points are off just dunking on people. Freak no. But okay, what's the next topic, man? What's the next topic?
I can't believe he had Embiid in his top 5. All right, this is the last topic because it's time for Austin to go to bed.
It is time for me to go to bed.
This is how I know It
is time for me to go to bed.
All right, it actually is a serious topic. We're gonna get into something that happened 2 weeks ago. Actually, we actually praised the Dolphins a couple weeks ago on the pod for just the way they started out the season, and y'all know just from the news that Tua got hit pretty hard. I think it was against the Bills or Ravens. Bills or Ravens.
The first one was
Ravens. Yeah,
first one, which was It was a back injury, right?
Allegedly.
Clearly, it was.
They said it was a back injury.
It was clear. Like, that's the crazy thing. You don't have to be a scientist. Clearly, he had a head injury.
They should have said a leg injury at least. The way his leg buckled. You know what I mean?
Your back. If you're nah.
I've never seen a back injury where you just lose balance like that, and you literally don't know where you're at.
The knee maybe would have made a little sense.
Nah, he had no control over his body.
Of course, but a back, the back's not gonna make you fall.
They said back and ankle.
Like a knee, maybe ankle, maybe. I can kind of understand an ankle, maybe.
Nah, that dude.
Back, definitely not. He was concussed.
That dude was
definitely was concussed.
He's in a different world, man.
He finishes the game, they win it, and then this week I forgot who they're playing against, but he got hit again, and he clearly was in bad shape. So Chris Durant actually posted this on his story.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris. Man. He always shows love. Chris played football at Women Married, and actually had a short stint in the league with the Chargers.
Yeah.
But he said
he could have made it, man, if his knees
yeah
weren't in the shape that they were.
Right. But he posed a question. He said, especially college athletes in particular, do you feel like your coaches really had your best interest at heart, or were they just trying to win games? So what I want to just throw out there, just in closing, because we've been there, right? And when you're competitive and when you want to be out there, going to war with your brothers or sisters, there's this inner drive that you want to play through stuff. So do you feel like in situations like that, right, it's more so the athlete feeling like there's this pressure that you don't want to be soft and that you have to go out there to for your coach and to win? Or is it more Kobe mentality, I'm going to play through, Goggins mentality, I'm going to play through this? Like, what do you think is really more prevalent in situations like that, particularly in college and pro sports?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I have a personal story. So my freshman year in college, this was like probably less than half the way through the season, playing in a conference game, went up for a layup, made it, and landed on my wrist. And, played, finished that half, get to halftime, and it's extremely sore, like to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I can play, man. Luckily, it was my offhand, left hand. Ended up taping it up, played the rest of the game. I can't remember I think we lost. I'm pretty sure we lost. Close game. After that, wrist is bothering me, and luckily we didn't have a game for like maybe another week and a half or something. So, you would think get an X-ray, like see what's good, but didn't do that. And for me, it's like, oh, it's a wrist, like I'll be fine. Like, ice it, do some exercises, I'll be good. Fast forward, and to make a long story short, I ended up playing on that wrist, which bothered me the whole rest of my freshman year. And we did exercises, strengthen it, and it got better, but I never had the full range of motion. I get to literally the day before spring workouts, we got an X-ray just to check it out because it was still like bothering me. Didn't have a full range of motion. Got an X-ray. The next day we had our first day of spring workouts and came back broke. Like I was playing on a broken wrist pretty much most of my freshman year. So yeah, man, it's tough because more times than not, and this is a different use case, but typically you'll listen to the athlete like as a trainer, right? Because they're not in your body, and you want to play through it, and more times than not you can play through it,
yep.
and it doesn't really show. But when it comes to this standpoint, like it's tough, man, because again, he had an unfortunate injury against the Ravens, and he played through it. Like he got cleared to play, right? And I don't know what was going on, with those doctors. He made it through that game, and honestly, in my opinion, man, I think it was just an unfortunate sequence of events. And I might get some backlash for this, but just from a QB standpoint, I thought Tua should have got rid of the ball. I don't know if you guys watched the play, like and I was watching the game. He had plenty of time to get rid of it, and I think if he gets rid of it, he's not in that situation. But that's besides the point. Yeah, it's tough, man. I just think it's just unfortunate how it happened. I think because if you look at the interview with McDaniel, he was like, "Nah, I wouldn't have done anything different." And if I was in that situation, I think I would have played him.
It's not his job to decide whether he's healthy or not.
Whose job?
Mike McDaniel's. They hire people for that.
I agree.
So hey, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of
he's the specialist,
and that's kind
I don't got time.
of exactly.
I'm just calling the play.
Yeah, and that's
I don't got time. But what I wanted to ask too is, if you're concussed, is it easier to get concussed again? Like,
well, here's the thing.
That next week or so, you know
my thing.
Probably.
My thing is this.
I don't know.
My thing is this. You don't have like I said in the beginning. Like, he's been coaching football for years. This dude, right? Not necessarily with the Dolphins, but obviously he's been coaching for a long time to be able to be qualified for that role. So have the other people on the sideline, right? Everybody said that's clearly not a back injury. He's stumbling. I'm gonna give a personal story. This is a year and a half ago. We're playing in the Lifetime League, and my teammate at the time threw the ball to me when I wasn't looking, hit me in the head. This is the semifinals of the playoffs. It stunned me, and but I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't feel great. Something felt off. But it was enough to play. I played the game. But I knew, like, my first shot, I airballed at 3, which I never do. I'm like, this is weird. I just felt off. But I could play. The thing about concussions is your symptoms get worse the next day. Like, the 24 to 48 hours later is when it really shows. So, I mind you, I got hit in the head. I played a game. I drove 30 minutes home. And then I'm like, yeah, I think I need to go to the emergency room. So, and that was just off of a ball hitting me in the head. I didn't stumble or anything. This dude clearly got hit. Like, his head bounced off the ground. He's stumbling, is like trying to figure out where he is. And this is football. Like, there's a whole freaking movie about it. So, I like Rex Ryan, and I get he's a coach and he's pretty, he's a fired up dude or whatever. But he to me, I agree with him. He was like, it is your duty to protect this dude. And if you see that, duty? The coach is part of his.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Football too. The football field is curved, so if you're on the sideline and it's on the other side, you might not even see that. Now he gets hit, he goes off. Bro, I might be in my playbook.
But also,
I might not even see him stumble.
But
so hold on.
Let me say this though. You described how he got hit. If whatever didn't happen the week prior, he's probably going to be concussed. Like, did y'all see him slam his head? The dude could have been the healthiest dude and never concussed. Off that, we don't know that. Like, he would have been. I would say he probably would have been concussed.
And like you
off
said,
of that play,
he held the ball late, so it wasn't like he was like fighting.
No,
you talking about the last play that happened?
Yes, he slammed that dude. Yeah, I watched it live, and I'm like, oh crap! Like,
he didn't get
that was a freaking big hit. So, and again, my whole point is like, I understand that stuff happened before, but if we take that week away and he comes out that game clean and healthy, I still think he's freaking concussed off of that one play.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could have still happened. But look, there's a reason. Why did the NFLPA get involved immediately? They wanted an investigation immediately. Immediately.
I think they had to because
no,
of that.
they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Austin, it was because it was obvious. It was obvious.
It was obvious because of what happened the week before.
No, Austin. The next day, every talk show was like, he's clearly concussed. The next day after the first one.
If investigation immediately after the first
Yes. Immediately after the first one, the NFLPA said, we're going to start an investigation into what happened. This is before on Sunday.
I'm assuming they have to do that after every time somebody goes in the tent.
I wasn't just because of that, Austin. You can watch.
You're talking about the first
time that it happened.
Yeah,
when did they fire the
after the second one.
They fired him. Why did they fire him? Because he clearly didn't do his job right the first time. God,
I don't know.
look at the video.
If it wasn't the second time, would he have been fired? Is what?
No.
That's what the worst.
That's
That doesn't mean that has nothing to do with anything.
I get it, but
Marshall, a lot of these freaking dudes
to me,
probably should have been fired. Exactly. That's my point.
That's a makeup call.
Exactly. That's my point.
That's a makeup call.
So
we haven't heard this guy's side yet. It's easy to say that now.
If he didn't get the second, if he didn't get slammed on his
all
head
all these freaking,
but he would still have a job.
No, all these freaking
probably
all these trainers.
But my point is this. My point is it wasn't like everyone started questioning the doctor and the situation after what happened on Sunday. They started questioning it the day that it happened. Everyone was like, that's clearly not a back injury. He's clearly concussed. If all this backlash just started after Sunday, I would agree with you guys. But it was obvious. It was obvious. And you said it's not the job. It's not the coach's job. Okay, if you're a coach, right, and you know that, and again, maybe he didn't see. Let's say he did see and he knew. If you see that this dude clearly is, as an athlete, especially in football, you're going to say, I'm good. What football player is going to say, I can't go, coach? It's very rare. And Rex Ryan made a good point. He's had to do it before. He said, your job to tell the athlete, no, you need to freaking sit down. That's part of his job.
If he got professional clearance from a doctor who's been in the game X amount of years, and he said, yeah, he's good to play.
How many times?
Marcus, listen,
how many times did Grant Hill get professional clearance?
And Tua was probably in meetings, right? I'm sure he seemed like he was good. And coach, I'm gonna listen to these guys. You're not an expert, Marshall.
Of course.
I'm not saying he.
It's not about being an expert. I said this is a trend in sports.
It is though.
No, it's
but
not.
You're not saying Mike McDaniels holds zero responsibility. You're not saying that.
No, of course not.
I'm saying at the end of the day, bro, like there are checks and balances.
Yeah.
And that's not my.
That is not his decision.
If we're deciding over which play is going to be called, yeah.
Because if Tua makes a game-winning touchdown pass, we're not having this conversation.
That's not my call.
They won. Austin, the first time that it happened, they won the freaking game and he finished the game. And he made plays.
Okay.
So this has nothing to do with Tua's performance. This has nothing to do with his performance. He got concussed.
It has to do with him getting hurt the second time.
No, it's not. Because if people question it the first time.
He's not fired. If he's not fired.
We're not talking about him being fired. What did I talk about? I said.
But it matters though. Because you're talking about.
His doctor has nothing to do with this.
What do you mean?
Him getting fired.
You've been writing.
Him getting fired is not the point.
What's the point then?
What do you mean, what's the point? He clearly was hurt.
Which happens all the freaking time in the NFL.
In the sport, it's not just the NFL. Were you not
We're talking about the NFL right now.
Did you get professional clearance to play on your wrist? Did you even get checked?
No, I didn't get checked.
Okay, when I tore my ACL in college, I didn't even get checked. It was clear that something wrong.
So who was that on? The coach?
The professional. I'm not talking about just the coach.
Then
my point is the athletic training community.
But you said the coach should have.
He bears some responsibility. Yes. I'm not just talking about the coach.
I disagree.
I'm not just talking about the coach. Okay, I'll give you a personal example. When I tore my ACL, that I did not get an MRI right away. Why? Because the athletic department, training department, did not want to spend the money. They didn't want to spend the money. I rehab it just like your wrist. There's some positive responsiveness. I get cleared in practice by a professional. Went to school for it. I play in the first game I tried to play. My knee buckles on me. Okay? He's like, well, I don't think we need to get an MRI because you responded well. So I'm telling him what's going on. But again, I want to play and I'm listening to a professional. 2 weeks later, the same thing happens. My teammate's parents went to the trainer and said, you are giving him an MRI because they're asking me, well, when are you going to be back? What's going on? You got an MRI? They're asking me every game because I was a starter. This isn't even my parents. These are my teammates' parents. Walter asked the trainer. He's he doesn't need one. Okay, my knee buckled 3 times. The 3rd time, after the game, parents were yelling at this trainer. He's not playing anymore until he gets an MRI. The coach didn't say it. The trainer didn't say it. The parents, because they watched me. They watched me.
The coach did too, though.
Yes, okay. But guess what? He's trying to freaking win games. And guess what? Our team was trash that year, and he knew he needed me out there. And I was trying to help my team. Right? So my point is, professionals in this industry are not always making decisions based off what is best for the athlete. That's my point. Whether it's the coach, the athletic trainers, whoever, there's something that they're not thinking all the time about, what's best for him. They're thinking, all right, I'm trying to win this game. To your point, Nico, I'm worried about the playbook.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's fair, but that's my point. It's not, it's just this person's responsibility. The problem with this industry, college and not just high school, college, and pro, is people are looking at, I'm going to get fired if we have a bad season. Or I'm going to get pressure from the coach if we don't play this guy. Read Grant Hill's book. He almost died because of it. Because multiple doctors, not just one, from his time at Duke to all the way in his Pistons career. These are professional people that you said, right? And he almost died because, guess what? They did not do their due diligence and take their time to really figure out what's best for him. That's my point. It's not just pointing the finger at the coach. Again, you're an example. I'm an example. There's plenty of examples. If my teammates' parents literally had to tell this guy he needs to get an MRI, or because guess what? He probably would have said, he said I had a torn PCL. What is that? What is a PCL? That's not, and you can tell a non-contact injury. Again,
it was an unfortunate situation that happened, with Tua, and yeah, I mean, we would like to see things be handled a better way, but that's just not reality, man. Especially in any sport industry, that's just not a reality, because people are gonna play through certain injuries, whether they should it or not. That's just what's gonna happen. And in a sport like football, where it's so physical and destructive, this isn't the first time or the last time we're gonna see it. And this is not the first time, because this has happened. I mean, freaking any given Sunday, right? That's a perfect example. I mean, there's been times, and Aaron Rodgers talked about it, freaking just giving these guys oxys and doing all this stuff. I can play through it. It's unfortunate it happened to Tua given the sequence of events. But, I mean, this isn't the last time we're going to see it.
I get that, but here's the thing I don't get. All right, I'm not trying to be position prejudice or whatever, but the NFL put all these rules in place for the quarterback for a reason. He's the quarterback. It's not like an offensive lineman or a linebacker just got stunned and he went back out there because he had to go, because he's a war. This is the quarterback. He's the most important player on the team. And again, anyone with 2 eyes can see what was going on. So that's my point. But in closing, let's end on a positive note. Hold on, you gotta get it. 3 times, man. Shout out to the Goods.
Locked in.
Won our 3rd straight lifetime Gainesville championship. Never been done before. Went 10-1 this season, and great game yesterday, man. Team effort. And there's a lot of chatter earlier in the season how we're not going to three-peat by a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff went on behind the scenes, rules being enforced on us that aren't enforced on anyone else, trades, all types of stuff. Referee conspiracy, you know what I'm saying? Scott Foster, CP3 type stuff. And I'm not, it was the same team that we played in the last 2 championships. But
hey, look, man, some can and some can't. Just leave it at that.
Here with my brothers again. I just want to say I'm glad, I'm happy, and I'm amen. Here we are.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
Even though we talked about it for 96 seconds, yeah, 3 people for sure.
Clock in.
Good up, man. Good up. Great up. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google. Wherever you listen to your cast, man. We appreciate you. See y'all next week, man.
Clock in. Clock in.